Executive Officer of Vision Fund. Here is the skit.
We hear a group of people arguing in the court. We see a judge walk in and sit down. A woman dressed in African print outfit. 2 lawyers in black suits and crisp white shirts. A man in a classy tuxedo is also present. The judge takes a seat and clears his throat. The clerk gets up and then orders the court to be quiet. Everyone quiets down and the judge speaks.
Order. Counsel, give me a detailed and unbiased account of your submission.
My lord, this is my client, Mr. Fiache. He's the owner of ETA Savings and Loans Company. He will narrate his account to the court, Mr. Fitt.
Thank you, my lord. So this man came to my bank.
My lord, how's the Savings and Loan Company suddenly been elevated to the status of a bank by the Bank of Ghana?
My lord, whether it's a savings and loans company or not, it's still a bank or so.
Quiet, or I'll hold you both in contempt of court. Counsel, ask your client, Mr. Fiache, to go on.
Thank you, my lord. So I was in my bank, rendering my usual services when this woman entered and asked for some information on ways in which she can acquire a loan.
No, that's a lie.
Order.
Oh, my lord, I am Ajua Echa.
My lord, please tell my learned friend here to advise his client to adhere to the rules of this extreme court.
Oh God, come to my aid.
My lord, after taking her through the benefits of our flexible credit facilities, she took the application documents and signed them. Now it is time to service the loan, and she has refused to meet her repayment deadlines on 2 occasions.
What?
Order in the courtroom. Order.
Ajwa, listen, if you open your mouth again, we will be kicked out of this court.
My learned friend, you might like to advise your client and ask her to pay back her loans on time.
Order, counsel. Are you done, Mr. Fiache?
He's done, my lord.
Counsel, can you present your account?
My lord, my client's name is Ajwa Echa, the debtor. She will narrate her account, my lord.
Good afternoon, my lord. Mr. Fiache is my neighbor. We've been living in the same neighborhood for more than 6 years. I used to own a huge provision shop in our neighborhood until fire gutted my building due to the negligence of some weed smokers and I lost everything.
My lord, please enlighten my friend here to tell his client that we are not here to listen to fairy tales and that she needs to go straight to the point. Cut this long story short.
Order in the courtroom. Order. Counsel, you are warned.
Thank you, my lord. Ajwa, go on.
So I called Mr. Fiache and went to his office for support from his savings and loans company.
So I was right.
Order, Mr. Fiache.
Yes, my lord. Ask my learned friend.
I would rather appreciate it if you, my learned friend here, would advise yourself and adhere to the rules of this highly esteemed court. This is my courtroom, and I will decide who must be advised about what. Do I make myself clear, counsel? Do I? Go on, madam.
Thank you, my lord. So I called him and went to his office for the loan. There I met a relationship officer. He explained the terms and conditions of the application to me, saying that I have to pay the loan back after 6 months with an interest of 10% attached to it. That is if I complete the full repayments after the 6-month period. But he also told me that failure to repay the loan in 6 months would attract a penalty of 25%, but I would also get a grace period of 2 months.
It's a lie, my lord.
Order in the courtroom, Mr. Fiache.
Counsel, kindly put your client in order and ask him not to be too emotional about this.
Order in the courtroom, counsel. Madam, how much money are we talking about here?
5,000 Ghana cedis, my lord.
Madam, continue your story.
My lord, So the relationship officer gave me a long list of papers to go through. And as I began to read, Mr. Fiache entered the office, met me there, and then he jumped into the process.
I only came there to help you out because the papers were too many and you were struggling to go through them.
Order, Mr. Fletcher. This is your last warning. Madam Ajwa, please continue.
Like I said, he jumped into the process while I was quietly and calmly reading the document. He came to me, collected the papers, scolded his relationship officer, and went on saying, "Don't you know that she's my neighbor?" And he turned to me and said something like, "Auntie Ajwa, how much money are you here for? I will give you the loan right now. You don't need this plenty permission and this long contract. I know you too well, and I know where to find you. You won't run away with my money. Just sign here and come for the loan tomorrow. After all, it's just 5,000 Ghana cedis." And my lord, because I was in desperate need of the cash, I signed without going through the contract thoroughly. And here I am now, in this court, because I signed the document without scrutinizing it.
It's a lie, my lord.
Order, Mr. Fletcher. Order. Counsel, what are you here to appeal for?
Thank you, my lord. I am here with my client in order to ask for amendment of the document which she signed. We would like to go with the word of mouth agreement, which is that she pays 10% interest on the amount loaned to her. Even after 6 months, the document stated that it should be 25% after 6 months period has elapsed.
Okay, I'm checking the papers. These are genuine documents with signatures attached to them. And this implies that Madam Adjoecha is to pay at least a quarter of the full amount with 10% interest after every 3 months. This means that ATA Savings and Loans Company earns 3 times the percentage on the full amount of the loan before she is done with repayments. So what evidence do you have to back your client's claim in order for the amendment to be effected?
My client has an audio recording backing her claims.
Objection, my lord. Objection overruled. Present your evidence, counsel.
Thank you, my lord.
Adjoecha hands over her phone to the judge.
Oh, Auntie Ajwa, see, you don't need to sign anything. Just trust me.
What?
All this paperwork is nothing. I'm so sorry about your bench job. Look, I will help you recover everything that you've lost and even make more profits than before.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fiache. I'm very grateful. But I need to take this document home so that my husband can also read through it and advise me on the best decision to take.
Oh,
okay?
come on. These papers you see here, they are all just formalities. I own the company, for crying out loud. And I should have even given it to you for free without interest, but I'm a businessman, and then you just pay me back after 6 months.
Eh?
Oh, it's not play. Okay, look. There you are. If you don't have all the money after 6 months, add 2 more months to it and pay me back after the 8 months with no extra interest.
What?
Oh,
Hey.
simple case.
My lord, should I continue the audio recording?
No, I have heard enough. Madam Adjoecha, imagine if you didn't have this audio. What would you have done?
My lord.
Anyway, let this serve as a lesson to you and to the audience in this courtroom. Scrutinize any loan document that you are presented with. Any paper document that asks for your signature, and never trust any loan officer, regardless of the personal relationship that you may have with the person, not even your own family member.
Interesting skit there, and I have in studio Kojo Bafo-Igan, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Vision Fund Ghana, and he's going to help us break down the issues of transparency. Kojo, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Thank you, Bernard. Good morning to our listeners.
Great to have you. Before we talk about the skit, let's start with a basic breakdown between banks, microfinance, savings, and loans.
Good. Thanks. It's a good starting point. So basically, all the three categories of financial institutions are regulated by the Bank of Ghana.
Okay.
The differences are basically in the permissible activities. So, for example, apart from a universal bank, a savings and loan company or a microfinance institution cannot offer foreign account services to clients.
Okay.
Secondly, we have what we call the clearing house, where issued checks are sent for clearing. It is the banks who are permitted to participate in the clearing house. So what you see is that the permissible activities clearly distinguish between what category A can do and what category B can do. Why it is used interchangeably is because some of the products or services are cross-cutting. So, for example, employees of CTFM or Axion, if they want a savings account, they could walk into a microfinance company, a savings and loans company, or a universal bank and get a savings account. And you see, these categories are also interdependent. So, I mean, a microfinance company needs the services of a bank if they want to operate an account. A savings and loans company needs the services of a bank if they want to operate an account. And the banks also need those in the lower tier, right, because of partnerships and wanting to reach other markets that they traditionally don't serve. So there are some interdependencies in that.
Let's talk about the skit. So Adjoa Chan, who we are told was not able to read through the loan contract and signed the documents believing she was told by the owner of the savings and loans. Now, what options do clients have if they feel that they've been misled into signing some sort of contract?
Good. I mean, clients can always exercise their rights by reporting the conduct of financial institutions to the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana has a whole department, the Financial Stability Department, that addresses these concerns. And the challenge we have now is compliance to regulations, because there are very clear regulations on the rights of customers and the duties of financial service providers. If you take the Borrowers and Lenders Act 2008, Act 773, I mean, it clearly stipulates what lenders would have to do in terms of pricing of loan products. Right? If you go further to the disclosure and product transparency rules by the Bank of Ghana, I mean, it talks about making sure that the clients understand the terms and conditions of the loan agreement, amounts of loans they are taking, the interest rates that is clearly defined. I mean, you need to be clear. Every aspect of the contract must be explained to the client. There's even what we call the pre-agreement statement, where you have to prepare and give to the client in advance. I think there's a validity period of 5 days for which the client can go through and consult or engage other FSPs to understand their offering and make an informed decision. So the framework is good, but the problem is with compliance. And I mean, my advice always is that we do more self-regulation, because it becomes even the basis for competition. You really don't need a central bank holding a stake at you before you do the right thing. So financial service providers should take up the responsibility to be transparent, right? And there are several ways you can do this. I mean, make it a culture, the training of your staff, the marketing of your products, right? And the various stages of your engagement with the client. You can be transparent on all the relevant conditions so that the clients make informed decisions.
In this particular case, the contention was the interest rate. Now, for purposes of transparency, what level of detail is required? So, for example, we said there's a 10% interest rate.
Good.
So is it flat interest rate or reducing or declining balance? To what extent do we need to drill down to what every line means before we sign on that dotted line?
No, that's important, because you see, Bernard, for you and I, we can understand what a flat interest rate is for, or the difference between a flat and a reducing balance. But for people who are not very technical, and they form the majority of the clients that financial institutions serve, there's every reason to explain in detail what a flat interest rate is and what a reducing balance is. So you can see from the CADE that when you say 10% interest rate, exactly what does it mean? You have to be specific that it's a flat interest rate or it's a reducing balance interest rate, right? And there are other conditions also. If, for example, there are penalty interest rates in the contract, you have to state it clearly, right? If there's a grace period in the contract, you have to state it clearly. So all the relevant, you have to go to the very, very least detail so that the client is adequately informed.
All right. Now, the adjudicator in the skit made a request to take the contract back home to scrutinize before signing. Of course, the owner did not agree. The savings and loan guy. Now, to what extent will this build transparency, and in what other ways can financial service providers demonstrate transparency in dealing with their clients?
Good. I mean, to a very large extent, this encourages transparency. It's good to give the clients the agreement in advance for them to peruse, engage other persons on some aspects that they don't understand. And I think the other ways of demonstrating transparency is there are 3 clear stages in engagements with clients. For example, the client acquisition stage, where the officers engage the client. At that point, you can clearly spell out the conditions of the loans to the client. This is through your marketing materials and your face-to-face interactions with the client.
Okay.
Once you have moved to the next stage, which is assessment, and in most cases, we go to verify the businesses of the client. That is also another opportunity for you to really engage the client and disclose all relevant details of the contract. And then the 3rd stage is where we do the loan disbursement. It depends on the organizations of the how this is structured in FSPs. Some will do it as a back office function. Some will do it as a front office function. It's also another opportunity for you to explain the details of the contract to the client. And then in the relationship management process, after the loans have been disbursed or the savings products have been offered, it's another opportunity to reinforce the relevant contract. So that's a very important. It's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process in the entire relationship. So there's never an ending point when it comes to sharing information about the overall product offering to the clients.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Kojo Bafo Egan, CEO of Vision Fund. He's here under the auspices of the Center for Financial Inclusion at Assion, who are the main sponsors of the SMART campaign, working together with the Network of Financial Inclusion. It's the Financial Inclusion Forum of Africa.